Hello, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. It's good to see you today. My name is Vix and this is my channel, Goddess of Gore, where I like to talk about horror, thriller, fantasy and sci-fi books. May is almost here, so it must be time for my TBR video, and I'm very excited to get to this because guess what? I haven't finished last month's yet. But let's get on with it anyway. So, where should we start? Okay, let's quickly run through the year-longs, shall we? The Year of Gaiman, an idea thought up by Leanna over on Leanna's Library, continues with Coraline. And I've never read this one. I've seen the animated film, but I've never read it, so I'm very excited. Caroline's family have just moved into a new tower block. Their flat has 21 windows and 14 doors, but only 13 of them open into another room. The 14th opens to a brick wall, until one day it doesn't. One day it opens into another flat just like Coraline's, except it's not quite. The food is just a little bit better. The toys and books are just a little bit more magical, but the mum and dad, they're not right at all, and they want her to stay with them forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Another of Leanna's ideas is to read the whole of Philip Pullman's Dark Materials plus the 2 Dust books, and this will be the final published instalment with the Book of Dust 2, The Secret Commonwealth. This story starts 20 years after the Book of Dust Part 1, which started at the very beginning of baby Lyra's life, and it's 7 years since the Amber Spyglass ended. Lyra is now 20 in a world of complex dangers beyond her expectations, and Malcolm from Book 1, La Belle Sauvage, the beautiful sausage, is now a man approaching middle age. They must travel beyond the familiar of Oxford and to the extraordinary as they travel across the world in search of what was lost, a city haunted by demons with an A, the elusive City of Dust. So, will the Book of Dust 3 be the last in this series? Who knows? Book 3 is due out in September though, and I will be ready. The Lord of the Rings series is starting after my son and I read The Hobbit together in March, and part 1 is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. My son should be finished with his degree by the time we read this, so I might get him on to do the wrap-up with me. So The Fellowship of the Ring picks up with Bilbo on his 111th birthday. He decides to give his precious ring that he found in the troll caves to his nephew Frodo, but he's a bit reluctant when the time actually comes. It's his invisibility ring and he's very, very close to it. Gandalf has an inkling that this ring might be the one and only one ring of the legends, a legend that says that Sauron, the Dark Lord, long ago lost that ring and it holds most of his power, and he wants it back to become the most powerful being, and everyone in Middle-earth will become his slaves. Gandalf uses his convincing skills that he used on Bilbo in The Hobbit to persuade Frodo to take the ring to Mount Mordor and drop it in. And so begins Frodo's adventure out of the comfort of the Shire with the help of his Hobbit friends Sam, Merry and Pippin across Middle-earth to destroy the Ring of Sauron. The Karin Slaughter Book 3 in the Grant County series is A Faint Cold Fear. Yeah. Good old Sarah Linton, the coroner, is called out to a suspected suicide at a college campus. The college seem to want this done and dusted, but for Sarah and Jeff, the detective, they think foul play. The body has been mutilated, and when 2 more suicides turn up and a brutal attack, they know something is going on. It's now a sadistic killer that they're chasing, and the familiar looking college security guard may have the answers, but she's got a bruised ego to deal with, let alone assisting in solving this case. And then the Around the Disc in 800 or so days readathon, which is a long-term read-along, making our way through the Discworld 2 books at a time every month. Hosted by Leanne from Literary Diversions and Kirsty from Melb's Reads. And this month it's a turn of Eric and Moving Pictures, which are books 9 and 10 in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. Eric is the Disc's only demonology hacker. It's just a shame he's not very good at it. All Eric wants is 3 things in life: immortality, the love of a beautiful woman, and to rule the world. Nothing too big then. So when Eric accidentally calls up Rincewind, the most useless wizard known to, well, everyone, instead of an obedient demon to grant his wishes, Eric will most likely wish he'd never been born. And then Moving Pictures, which I don't have a copy of. In this ode to the silver screen and the world of Hollywood, Terry Pratchett style, where imps live inside the camera, painting the pictures on the film very fast, and the alchemists put the silver in the silver screen. The old man that chants his guarding spells at the foot of the holy wood hills has just died, and without his daily chants, strange things start to awaken and attempt to escape from the cave beneath the hill. Strange, dark and secretive things are coming to Holy Wood, and the Disc's first film stars are about to find out what it's all about. And then the Witcher read-along book of the month is The Time of Contempt by Andrzej Sapkowski. And I have to say the reviews for this instalment are pretty damning, which makes me a little hesitant. So let's hear the synopsis and I'll stop looking at the 2-star reviews. Geralt is a witcher, a guardian, a protector and a defender in dark times against some of the most frightening creatures of myth and legend. His task now is to protect Ciri, a child of prophecy. She will have the power to change the world for good or ill, but only if she lives long enough to use it. A coup threatens the Wizards Guild. War breaks out across the lands. A serious injury leaves Geralt fighting for his life, and Ciri, in whose hands the world's fate rests. And then finally, the Sweater Weather Book Club choice for the month is Wingraph issue 1, which I think is an indie published magazine with short fantasy stories inside, all with a cosy vibe. Go there and back again with lush settings, caring characters and dragons of all sizes. 9 short stories about adventures, quests, magic, fae and the royal court. So what else? Well, I just started getting into the Lockwood & Co series earlier on in the year, so I thought I would continue on with that this month with The Hollow Boy by Jonathan Shroud. This is the 3rd book in the series. So if you don't know, Lockwood & Co is a YA book series that is set in modern day London and follows 3 teenagers, Lucy, Anthony and George, at a psychic detective agency as they fight plagues of ghosts that they call visitors, as they threaten the lives of the adults who can't see them in London. The first 2 books in the series were recently turned into a Netflix show. And this book 3, The Hollow Boy, is about a huge outbreak of these visitors that are taking people to the streets in protest. And Anthony brings a new assistant to the team, a super efficient Holly. Bloody footprints in a haunted house, strange noises and shadows in a department store, and assassins at a carnival. The team at Lockwood & Co are going to have to sort their loyalties out if they want to face these dangers together. And then I have been and purchased physical copies and ebook versions of a couple of last month's new releases, and I would really like to get to those. I did mention them in my new April releases video, so if you want to hear a full outline of those, then go and take a look at that video. But I want to read Paradise 1 by David Wellington, a sci-fi with horror elements. 2 crew members are dragged from their sleep pods by a blaring attack alarm. As they investigate, they see a vessel has pulled up to them floating in space. A huge ship from the Paradise 1 colony has come to them instead of the other way round, and all of the crew are missing, and the inhabitants of Paradise 1 are all presumed dead. They must board the empty ship and go further into the lonely darkness of deep space to find out what has happened to the 150,000 people on Paradise 1. And The Haunting of Alejandra by V Castro, I still don't have my copy despite it already being out. Not to throw shade at Waterstones, but they did this with my How to Sell a Haunted House book. When you pre-order, you kind of expect it to be here on release day. No? Just a me problem then. It's not even been dispatched. So this is a folk horror book about a woman who is kind of at a time in her life when she's lost her identity. She's a wife, a mother, a daughter, and not much else. She's getting depressed, but when she starts to see a ghostly figure of a crying woman dressed all in white, she goes to see a therapist. As an adopted child, Alejandra never knew much about her mother and the inherited downfall of all the women in her family. La Llorona, the Mexican ghostly figure of a mother crying for her drowned children, preys on Alejandra and waiting to consume her depression, and will not stop until Alejandra comes with her into the darkness. And Ascension by Nicholas Binge, a spooky sci-fi thriller about a mountain that has suddenly appeared in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and a crew of scientists that are hired by a secretive, sinister agency to investigate the what, where and how the mountain came to exist, and what's actually on it. This is told from the letters of crew member Harold as he writes to his niece, each note getting more and more unhinged as paranoia, violence and memory loss and a strange being seems to be joining them as they climb closer towards the peak. And then I came across this book while I was requesting ebooks on NetGalley, Bethany Chiller by Jeffrey Deegan. This looks like a fun slasher, but I have since seen reviews and yet again I'm not letting them get to me. No regrets! This was sold to me as Carrie meets The Exorcist, so it has wildly high standards to meet with that analogy. Bethany is brutally attacked on her 16th birthday and she just can't mend herself from the outcome. So an age-old demon takes her under its wing and assists Bethany in getting revenge. It is just under 200 pages, so it's not the end of the world if it's as bad as the reviews say. And then the final book I would like to get to this month is Jawbone by Monica Ohada, a weird horror book. I mean, what's going on in that cover? I'll be fair, I couldn't make out a lot in the synopsis of this book enough to give you a good description other than it is set in Ecuador and it's about a group of 5 girls who meet up after school in an abandoned cabin, and unleashed from their gated homes and controlling parents, they perform rituals to a strange god of their own invention. But there's also kidnap and a hostage situation going on by one of their teachers, so I would like to say, oh, it's just a short book and it doesn't matter if it's weird. But this is almost 300 pages, so this may be the book that breaks the month. But I have agreed that I'm going to leave this held back until last, I think. And the reviews are completely polarising. It's all 4 or 5s or 1 or 2s or DNFs. I'm going to hate it, I can just tell. Why am I reading it then? Well, technically I am a member of In the Void book club and have been for a very long time, but I've never taken part in it. They're a pretty chill book group online and I have quarterly read-alongs, and this is the group read for April, May, June. So, well, we'll see if I read it. It doesn't take a lot to get me out of my flow of books, so that's the last one. So I've got a right mixed bag of books this month with all 4 of the genres that I promise I talk about when I introduce my channel every time. I feel like I'm actually following through with what I say I'm about this month. So let me know what you're reading this month in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you're excited about in May. Thank you for being here with me today. I really appreciate you giving up your time to hang out with me. Don't forget to like if you liked my TBR and subscribe if you want to stick around for a little longer if you haven't already. You might get to find out whether I read Jawbone or not. Make some good book choices this week, my friends, and I hope to see you all again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.